Hey guys, welcome back to Lovin Dubai show. And right now we are joined by someone very, 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 very special. So she is a guest who has taken challenges to all new heights and she has reached all 7 summits and will be skiing the North Pole this April. Welcome to the show, Tima, Deryan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me
Thank
on
you
your
so
show.
much for coming. So before we get started and talk about all your achievements, can you tell us a bit more about yourself? I just found out that you're also a designer.
Yeah.
So can you tell us who you are, who's Tima?
Great. So I never thought I would be a designer. Let's start from there.
It's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
It's your design.
Yes.
I love it.
So I get there. So my name is Tima Deryan, and I'm a UAE resident. I'm Lebanese, but I grew up in the UAE. I've been here for about 22 plus years, so it's home. I love mountaineering, but I come from a background with finance. So I studied finance, and I worked in finance for about 3 years until I discovered that I'm too passionate about climbing mountains, and I felt like I had a higher or bigger purpose, and I quit my job and I started doing mountaineering. But through mountaineering it opened up for me different kind of doors, which includes motivational speaking. I deliver workshops. I wrote a children's book about climbing Mount Everest
Oh my
to
God.
support them with developing their growth mindset, breaking gender stereotypes and gender roles. And it's really about my real story on Everest with few characters to supplement the children's book.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's one of my really proud achievements because I can see the impact that it's making because I do a lot of book readings at school. And of course, being that person who goes out there and do workshops and talks, it means a lot of people. And during COVID, everything stopped. And when that happened, I couldn't do that anymore. And that was my main business. So I had to start something. Being someone who's really passionate about equality, equity, and women empowerment. I'm very much into feminism. And I always struggled with explaining it to people because there's a lot of misunderstanding about the movement. And
How would
what
you
it's
explain
really
it? How do you explain it to people?
So feminism or a feminist is a person who believes in equality, equity, diversity, and inclusion. It's about having equal opportunities, equal respect, equal rights. And when it comes to equity, which is something I struggle with, we're all aware of our gender differences, what a man can do and what a woman can do in terms of strength, in terms of how our bodies are made. So there's a big difference between equality, equity, and it's all about diversity and inclusion because the worst thing is to feel left out, right?
100%,
And
yeah.
this is what feminism call out. And it's all about teaching women about their rights because it wasn't there and it wasn't something that we were aware of. Until today, if I ask a woman, do you know your rights? Not everyone does. Maybe this part of the world is moving really well and in a fast-paced way, but not everywhere in the Middle East. And this is how Feministia was born, which is a slow fashion sustainable brand, something that I'm currently wearing. And it
Do you want to
says,
show it to the close-up camera?
okay, so basically it says the word feminist in Arabic.
It is stunning.
And all the writing.
And those are the words because it's all about what our subconscious mind consume, right?
Yeah.
And it says in Arabic, strong, honest, positive,
Is
free.
it your handwriting?
No, it's a font.
Oh, it's a very beautiful font.
I wish I could write like that. And that's what I do in a nutshell.
I love it. I mean, like, it looks like I can wash it a billion times and it's not going to get spoiled.
Yeah.
It looks cozy. It just looks perfect for every outfit.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
But it's incredible. Like, where did you get the... Okay, so climbing mountains, fine, it's a passion of yours. It's something you wanted to pursue and you did mountaineering. But then from mountaineering, how did you get into, like, these motivational talks? Like, where do you get your motivation from?
Great question. So climbing a mountain is the main metaphor of climbing a goal or life or like enduring through something. And that's what happens on the mountains every time. So when I climbed my first mountain, I wasn't really in the best place. I was very confused. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know if I loved finance. And everybody have their way to figure out their purpose if they want to. They have a way to figure out what path they want to take. And my way was through mountains. When I climbed my first mountain, I came back and I felt very strong, very confident, very humbled, and I was very grounded. And I knew mountaineering had some effect on me, but I just didn't see it clearly. And then when I discovered that there's something called the Seven Summits and I wanted to climb all the mountains around the world, I set myself a target that, okay, I want to complete this challenge, but throughout that challenge, I want to learn more about myself. And now it's all about self-development. And I got into growth mindset and I got into mindset coaching. And you start reading about all these, and everything that you learn from the mountain is like a crash course, something that you would learn in like 3-4 years. You're just there on the mountain. You're taking one step at a time. You have to be patient because you really don't have a lot of options. And the fact that you don't have a lot of options make you become solution-based rather than focusing on the problem. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with nature, and nature is way more powerful than all of us. And the mountain dictates what happens and what not. So when we're climbing, you're going uphill, you're extremely exhausted, and your mind just wants to be in the comfort zone most of the time, and it keeps on convincing you that you're tired, that you can't do this, that this is scary. And with climbing a lot of mountains, you start practicing ways to get over your fear or to live your fear, because I don't believe we get over our fears. We live with our fear, we make our fear our friend, and then we start moving with that fear, and things become different. And coming back and applying it into business, into my life, have been a game changer, and that's how I got into it.
What are some of the mind hacks that you taught yourself throughout the journey, just to like have your eyes set on the goal?
Okay, so first one is don't look at the summit. Like, don't sneak peek on the summit while climbing Everest. It's a 2-month journey, and if I'm gonna just think about the summit, I'm never gonna make it, because it looks bigger, longer, taller, scarier, and it looks like it's gonna take forever. So don't focus on the summit. Definitely have a vision, have a goal. Just don't focus on that. Focus on the step that you can see. So take one step at a time. We had to go from camp to camp. We had to cross ladders. We had to be on fixed ropes. We had to do a lot of things. You can't just, it looks scarier. And just crossing those ladders and focusing on that little short-term goal helped me to get to the long-term goal. So one, not the long-term goal, just sneak peek, short-term goals. Two, don't listen to yourself. Start talking to yourself. And you might think you're becoming crazy, but trust me, it works. Self-affirmations is talking to yourself. When you're in a situation where you're panicking, you're overwhelmed, you're anxious, start reminding yourself of what is going on, why am I going through this? And automatically your brain will start reflecting. It'll start trying to understand what's going on. And three, approach everything with a growth mindset. Growth mindset is what's really helping me become a better person, become a better version of myself, and really live the life that I want. Because whatever the situation is whether internal thoughts or external factors that's communicating or dictating my environment, when I look at it with a growth mindset, things change. And to develop that growth mindset, it's all about practicing. It's all about catching yourself in the moment and start understanding what's going on. And you would ask yourself, right now, let's say I'm on a cliff. It's so windy. I can't hear myself. There's the oxygen mask on my face, and I need to communicate, and I feel extremely cold, and I feel like I'm gonna die. What is it that I'm gonna do? Talk to myself. But then I approach it with a growth mindset, and I really feel the most alive, and I take that one step. Because instead of seeing things with a fixed mindset, like there's a storm, this is not gonna happen, it's not gonna work out. No, this is gonna happen. I just need to be patient. I'm gonna take that one step, and let's see how it goes. And things would be easier.
Now, you've used a term which is quite, I think, new to a lot of us. Like growth, it's not new, but like in the way that you're using it in this interview, it's like you have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, what exactly is a growth mindset?
So a growth mindset is the belief that you can continue learning and developing and finding options. And a fixed mindset is the complete opposite. So we all get to a point where we say there is no way I can do this, or there is no way this is going to work out, or there is no other option. And guess what? There's a lot. We just need to have a positive outlook to figure out those options. And that's the growth mindset. And a lot of people would say, I'll just take the example of mountaineering, but it can be anything. There's no way I can be good at mountains. There's no way I can be good at math. But guess what? when you believe that, no, I can learn, I can progress and develop, but I just need to find the right way for me, then that's a growth mindset and you will get where you want to be with whatever you're trying to do.
Now, a lot of people think about climbing mountains. Like right now, listening to you, I'm just so inspired. I want to go climb a mountain. I want to figure my life out, like, learn a lot about myself. But for you, like, what gave you that push? Because you were in a very comfortable life. I'm sure finance comes with a lot of, like, being in your comfort zone in terms of financially, like your stay, everything, right? Then why did you decide to step out of that comfort zone and just pursue something so unpredictable?
I mean, it's been a dream. So when I was 14 years old, I was on a trip in Nepal with my family, and we took those flights and we flew over the Himalayas. And while on that flight, the pilot says, if you look outside now, this is the Himalayas, and we're flying next to the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. And I was extremely blown away to know, like, that's the highest mountain. So when we came down, they gave me a certificate that says I flew, but I did not climb. And when I got that certificate, I'm like, no, I'm not just gonna fly. I'm gonna climb that mountain.
Wow.
And I completely forgot about it. And then 10 years later, while I was living life between university and being in Dubai, you have the options to try so many things. So I went into scuba diving because I thought I like scuba diving. I've been always into bungee jumping. So I've literally like once taken a flight just to bungee jump in Macau because I really wanted to bungee jump. And I wanted to try skydiving. So I'm like, okay, the water, the land, the sky, let me try the sky. So I did my skydiving license, but I never felt like this is the sport that I can be so good at. And I wanted to feel like I'm willing to do anything to go and full on in that sport. Because I genuinely love sports in general. I was into basketball, swimming. So sports was like part of my life, but I wanted to be really good at one sport. And
she's so cool.
I know. I'm just listening. I'm so inspired. I'm not doing enough.
I want to hear her talk for hours and hours. She's amazing.
You're giving us the morning affirmations we need.
I'm glad.
Honestly.
After trying all this, and trying is the key word here, I was once in one of the company's events, and there was a speaker speaking about his version of Mount Everest and how he climbed, and I was just like blown away. I was very nostalgic. I said, that was my dream when I was 14 years old. Like, I cannot believe I forgot it. And I tried telling my colleagues, I swear I've said I'm going to climb that mountain.
Like, sure.
And they're like, okay, Tima, like, just let us get through the day now.
Okay, Tima. Yeah.
So yeah, I went, I did my research. I'm like, okay, it takes forever. A lot of people die on the mountain. It's a dangerous mountain. It takes 2 months. There's a lot of training. I need to climb another mountain to try climbing Everest. So it was intimidating, the information. But knowing me, I was very stubborn when I was in my early 20s. And I'm like, nothing is going to stop me. And that served me well to achieve my dreams. I'm like, no one's going to stand in my face. I'm not even scared. Even if people die, I'm not going to die. I really believe that I have everything it takes to climb that mountain. But I had to try climbing a mountain before climbing Mount Everest. So I'm like, okay, I rented half of the gear and I got some gear. And the mountain that I first climbed happened to be the highest mountain in Europe because I was already fit. And that mountain was about 5,642 meters. So the whole point of trying that mountain was to test the altitude, test how my body would react on the mountain, and really understand if I would like mountaineering, because I didn't fit in so well in scuba diving and skydiving. I liked it. I got so into it. I went into advanced levels, but I knew that that's not what I wanted to do, but I was enjoying it. So after climbing that first mountain, honestly, I came back.
Look at her. It's like, I excelled at it, but it wasn't my thing.
Yeah, literally. Like, I did great, but I was over it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't good enough. The sport wasn't good enough for me.
It wasn't challenging. I had to climb the Everest.
But what made you want to climb all 7? And it's a grand slam, right, of mountaineering. What made you say, this is for me?
Okay. So because it happened that I climbed the highest summit in Europe, when I came back down, I love mountaineering. everyone started saying, "Oh, so what's your next summit?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to Everest." They're like, "No, but there's the 7 summits, and it's the community,
There's
right?"
a process.
Yes, and I just like, So you don't have to follow the process, but like they're like, "Why would you just climb Everest if you love mountaineering? You can try other mountains." And then I went back home. I did my research. I'm like, "Okay, I think challenge accepted. We're gonna do the Explorer Grand Slam now." Actually, the 7 summits. The 7 summits was the goal, and I'm like, I'll do 7 summits. So the more I climbed, the more it wasn't no more longer about Everest nor the 7 summits. It was really about just climbing mountains. So you'd see me in Ras Al Khaimah every weekend doing trails, exploring, and like just being on adventures, learning how to live in the outdoors. It's all about putting on your tent, your gear, understanding yourself, being on different terrains. So it was all about training and really indulging in the sport of adventure and exploration, which was mountaineering. And I started doing the 7 summits and other mountains. And in 2019, I was in my head ready to climb Mount Everest, because now I can live on a mountain, not just climb, or not physically fit, but I was mentally fit as well. And that's how Everest happened. And after Everest, you're like, oh, but I'm so close. Like, I only have one more summit. And if I go to Antarctica, then I can do that summit, but I can also ski the South Pole since I'm there. And it's like in the other side of the world. You know what? Might as well do the Explorer Grand Slam.
Oh my God. So it's a mindset thing. Like, you've changed you've always had that mindset, but like it's a mindset of consistency and persevering, which is a theme that's happened a lot this week with mindset growth and just persevering.
Yeah.
So cool.
I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of things. But the one thing, like, how do you deal with the cold? Like, these are extreme temperatures.
Yeah.
So explain.
Okay, so on a mountain, you need to deal with the cold. You need to deal with the lack of oxygen, because after 3,000 meters, it starts becoming, it's called thin air. So the particles of oxygen spreads out and the pressure gets high. So it becomes really hard to take in enough oxygen. So there's that. And you need to acclimatize. It's called the acclimatization process. And dealing with extreme cold, like, it takes practice. So you need to expose yourself to cold, right? So I first exposed myself on Elbrus and then on other mountains. And then on every mountain, I've built in my system, and I've realized, okay, this shirt works for me, this jacket works for me. And because you need to find the right balance, because when climbing, it's hot as well. It can be minus 30, but you can be sweating because you're like exerting so much energy and effort, and you have a heavy backpack. And like, for example, now in Antarctica, we were like pulling a 45 kg sled, so there's a lot of hard work. And when the hard work is happening, you're hot from inside, but when you stop it, it's extremely cold. So what you need to do is really find the right balance. And dealing with the cold is all about practice. You need to find your right system. So there's gloves. So I'm someone who has really cold fingers. My fingers would get cold from 0 to 3 the moment I'm outside. So I know I'm going to get off the plane and I'm going to have my mittens on. And the moment I start moving, I'll wait until they're hot enough, and then I change my clothes. So there's a lot of technical gear that you work around. And there's hand warmers. So that's how you deal with the cold. Sometimes it's really hard when your body is not like warming up. And this is where you need to like persevere through it until you get cold. For example, in the South Pole, when we take a break, so we ski for an hour, and we call them blocks, and we take 12-minute break. And in those 12-minute break, you can get cold because you're not moving, you're just eating and like refueling. So when we go back up to move, we have to like, the body's still warm, but for me, my fingers are extremely cold, and frostbites are very common. I mean, somebody in my team had like really bad frostbites on the thumb, and you just need to be so careful because it can happen just like that. So you start skiing, and the first 15 minutes are so painful because my toes are now cold, my nose is freezing, and like my fingers are so cold. And you just need to like let go of the feeling and focus. And I've built that system where now I know I'm gonna give myself 15 minutes for it to warm down. So now every time we stop, I just wait for 15 minutes, and like I just start saying, okay, well, but I need to deal with it. And that's how I got through those things.
Insane. Honestly, I wish I was you, truthfully.
She's like a human with a full universe inside.
I know, that's the thing.
It's like the story.
One last question before we leave you. What is the message that you're trying to send across with everything that you're doing?
Okay. So dream big and never give up. Nothing is impossible. And you just got to get over your fear and your ego to get to where you want to be. You got to put a roadmap to your vision. Have a vision. Not everybody wants to have a purpose, and I completely understand. And sometimes when I talk, you don't. My journey is not yours, and your journey is not the same as mine. But if we come across, then let's support each other. You can hear my story, you can hear someone else's story, but you're gonna always have your own path, and you need to figure out where and how do you want to live your life. What wakes you up every morning? What motivates you? And I'm not motivated all the time. I do get demotivated a lot of times, and I do get I struggle to get to where I want to be. But then I remember and I keep on reminding myself of my why and where do I want to be. And my future self has been always my biggest idol because I aspire to be the best version of myself. So aim for those things, set goals for yourself. And everybody has all the characteristics that you need to have from being persevering, from determination, you name it. But you just need to activate it. And to activate it, you need to start somewhere. So try new things.
I really hope soon you'll be taking us on expeditions. You know, like in
Can we
poetry.
Can we join in rap?
Yes.
Baby steps.
Do you think you'll ever start expeditions, so like group expeditions, and start all of that? Because usually mountaineer. So I spoke to someone like 2 years ago, and she's so heavily into climbing mountains. She started her own expedition company. So it's like now she gets groups, and they all go together. Is that something you think you'll ever do?
No, because that's something you need to be certified to do, and to be a mountain guide takes a lot of work, and you need to be a professional mountain guide, because being on a mountain and taking other people on a mountain is not something that's it's not a walk in the park. And there's you need to be fit, you need to have first aid, you need to understand how to deal with wilderness. If someone gets injured, anything can go wrong in the outdoors. I've done few things here and there just because I've been doing this for 8 years, but to me I'd rather work with a professional guide and then have a team, and I would put probably a coaching program in the outdoors and be part of the team just to help them get to the summit, but always go with a professional guide expedition.
Thank you so much for that. And you are the positivity radiates from you. It was incredible speaking with you and having you on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was fun having a conversation with you.
Pleasure's all ours. Guys, that is it from us. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. That's
Thank
it
God.
from me.
Tomorrow. And that's it. Then it's the weekend.
I can persevere now. I feel like I have what it takes to make it to tomorrow. So thank you for
nice.
that.
I'm glad to hear.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.